smile.
I'm gonna change. Let me close my messages too, so that they're not.
We are now going live. Let me make sure it's. Yeah, we're live now. I know. All right, here we go, folks. It is like launching a rover onto Mars. Here we go. You look great. All righty, let's give folks a few seconds to get on. And let's see here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We've got some folks already on. So, greetings and welcome to Psychic Mediums Live. I'm your host, Kevin Paul, psychic and medium here in Washington, D.C. And today my special guest is Wendy Mata, who I've known for many years now. Not only is Wendy a psychic and medium, she is a shamanic healer, curandera, Reiki master, teacher, life coach, and much, much more. She has been teaching seminars and workshops around the world for more than 10 years and has taken as a mission in life to promote the ancient wisdom carried by her family in Mexico about curandismo, which is the healing arts of Mexico and shamanism. So today we're going to talk about her journey and development. And if you have any questions for us, please leave them in the comments section and we'll get to them after the interview and answer your questions. So welcome, Wendy, and thank you for being on my show today.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me.
And we've known each other for a few years and studied together and done all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm really happy to be able to return the favor. I think you interviewed me many years ago.
Oh yeah, and the site.
That was my first time. I was terrified. Like I'm holding the phone trying to do it. Now we have a more sophisticated, more professional way of doing this, and now it's a nice way to kind of be able to return the favor and talk about you, because you are definitely a wealth of information and experience. So I want to make sure everybody, learns about what you do, how you got there. And we'll talk later about, some of the things that you're doing now. So happy to have you. Thank you. So first of all, would you talk about your journey, how you became, a good witch, I say, a healer, shamanism, curandera, psychic medium, because, all of that, there's all sorts of pathways from that. But tell us how you started and at what age and how you went and developed into the beautiful, magical woman that you are today.
Thank you. Well, it started a long time ago. I think it started even before I was born. I come from a family that has been practicing magic and shamanism and curanderismo and metaphysics for a really long time. Up to now, we're able to track to 5 generations on my mother's side and about 3 or 4 generations on my father's side. So we know that in our lineage, there has been a lot of medicine women, medicine men, healers, and magical ones serving. Most of them taking the path of the light, some of them maybe not, but we all have, every day is a choice, right? And exactly. It can be very easy or it can be not that easy for some people. So it started even before I was born, but my first recollection of the work that I do now, I remember being first when I was 6 years old. I remember my dad back at home in Mexico teaching me how to heal. He had a headache, and I remember he taught me the beginning of what I would call the principle of transference, which is taking an energy from one place and putting it in a different one. He was teaching me how to remove a headache from him and bring it into a line. He was actually teaching me, this is how you grab the pain from somebody's head. This is how you bring it into an object, or you bring it into a living thing like a fruit or a vegetable or a crystal. And then this is how you clean yourself with water. So I remember this process when I was 6. I also remember him telling me how plants could heal us. I remember him telling me how our energy affected things. So he will give me little seeds of plants, and we will do experiments where we will talk to the plants and grow them taller and higher and more beautifully and more strong. And then we will have the ones that we didn't do energy work with, and he will teach me the difference. The other recollection that I have that is a very present recollection that marked who I am today, it's I think I may have been seven or eight. My grandmother took me to her land. She's from Coahuila, a state about 4 hours from Reynosa, where I was born. Mm-hmm. And she took me to the area where her family used to dance to bring the rain. She was a rainmaker. Her mother was a rainmaker, like people in the town were rainmakers. So she took me to the area where they will dance, the dance of San Isidro Labrador, which is a saint that they used to call upon bringing the water. I remember the stories of her telling me that since she was a child, she was always so surprised about how fate and the power of energy and the power of the body and the power of the mind will actually manipulate the weather. So those are my first recollections, which is it's a very different life than a lot of people. I have had the blessing of having this since always. I can recall talking about astral traveling and magic and spells, and we call them hechizos in Mexico. Like, I have recollection of this being always in my life. And since my grandmother took me to the mountains to show me where they may rain, I made the commitment of bringing these arts, this healing, this energy to the world.
That's amazing. I mean, you're probably one of the few people, who have that experience to be able to go back to childhood, and you've got, your parents and grandparents as your teachers. The rest of us, we had to fend for ourselves. It's like, it was our own journey. It's like, okay, no map. I'm just using my own, crazy mind and interest. And you've got someone who's teaching you how to, the basics of healing and transference and, connecting with energy. That's amazing. And did you continue through all your life, or did you kind of take a break during your teenage years and then come back to it?
Well, I think when I was a teenager, I had an experience. Every person that is magical is being shamed in some point by someone. I think it has happened to all of us. I remember having a situation that was very painful by somebody, and I decided to step out of it for a little bit. So for a few years, I was kind of like out of it, but I felt unbalanced. When we deny who we are, when we deny our magic, when we deny our power, when we deny our mission in life, things are not balanced. Things are out of whack, right? So little by little, I went back. It was actually life pushing me back to it. Life sent a series of events that made me have to be back on the path. I call it the frying pan therapy, when life sends you a little bit of a message and then you don't get it, and then it sends you a bigger one and then you don't get it, and it takes you this like metal pan, right? Like hits you.
And they hit you on the head with it. Like, listen, this is the third time I've tried to teach you this lesson in life, and you're like not getting it. I'm going to hit you.
Yeah. And life hit me bad. Like, I broke my neck and my back, and I was in bed for 6 months. I was in a physical therapy, be able to walk again. And I went through all these like very heavy journey on my body. But one of the things that this brought me was having to have faith. I was in bed. I only could wake up out of bed to go to the bathroom with help, and then I will have to go back and be in the same position for, just imagine, months. So during that time, I had the opportunity to think about life and think about destiny and think about why I was being in bed and why life was bringing me to slow down so that I could reconnect to who I am.
That's really interesting. I mean, we've all had those experiences where we're like, oh, I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to go live my life. I can't handle this kind of information or these kind of gifts. That's so typical, when you're kind of like on your own. But
I remember back when you and I met years ago, you were just coming out of that period of
I was like, oh God, I've wanted to live now I'm coming back to it. I'm like, oh wow, I've come with more maturity now, and I can look at life, because this is all about a ministry of healing. The work that we do is, whether it be psychic readings, mediumship readings, development, all this is about, healing ourselves and helping others heal. as
Right.
well.
What you're saying about healing ourselves is very important because we cannot serve the world in the way that we're meant to if we deny our own trauma, our own shadow, our own pain. So we
Right.
take the responsibility of doing the shadow work so that we can show up better for people, that we can sustain people, and that we can actually bring and ensure the right frequencies, right? Because we have to be on the same in the right space.
Right, right. We can't be a mess and help other people,
Right,
basically,
right.
right? It's like,
Messy
it's
magic
like,
is yeah.
if you're, if work on yourself first, get yourself grounded, figure out your coping mechanisms, what your abilities are, and then you're comfortable in your own skin. And with me, I needed to have some more life experience. Then I'm able to be better at helping others.
But that makes you wiser because taking the decision of taking a break so that you can prepare. I mean, it is a life journey, right? Like we're always preparing
It
to be
is.
better, but it requires a lot of wisdom to step out of what we know is our path or what we may not know at that point that is our path to find ourselves and then be stronger for other
And
people.
we always tend to come back, if like,
Yeah.
oh, for me, I'm like, it just came back, I met you and Edgar, and then all of a sudden, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like riding a bike. Okay, I'm back on the bike. I have to kind of practice, and get back on it. And then, meeting you and Edgar really helped kind of open the doors many years ago. And then, put me on a great journey, on a journey that I really have always, wanted to be on, have been on a little bit, then came back to it. And I want to thank you for getting me back on the bicycle in this area. So
Oh, it's been an honor
it's
to
all because of you and that medicine wheel and all.
yeah, exactly. We had so much fun doing those mediumship
Oh
circles.
my God, and you were pregnant with your daughter, and oh, I
Yeah,
remember that. Great fun. So,
so-
so of all the things that you do, which is your favorite? I mean, being a psychic and medium, um, being a shaman, a healer, a curandera. What is your number one? What do you like? What are you focusing on now? Because I'm sure
Well,
you've got so
yeah,
many.
there's definitely multiple things going on at once, but
Mhm.
the thing that I love the most, and that having the Botanica, the Bruja Power Botanica I'm the founder of, allows me to, it's that I love to be able to remind people of their magic and power. I love to be there to witness the growth. It's an honor to be there for people, and I love to be the one that can sustain the growth and can remind them who they are, because we all came to the planet, we all came to the universe with this magnificent frequency, right? We all came as divine, but then through trauma, through life, through society, through religion, through culture, through everything, we forget. But it is important to remember. So my favorite thing to do is to be able to provide services and support and products that allow people to remember their own magic, their own magnificence. I don't believe that we need gurus or that we need any kind of help to connect to spirit, but I do believe that we have to remember the process to connect to spirit, because sometimes we deny that connection and then we forget how to do that connection. So that's my favorite part. My favorite part is reminding people that they're magical.
And how do you do that?
Every person is different. Every person is different. It's not a process of it's not a process that matches for everybody, but usually how we start the journeys is by doing a reading. I actually do it's called the Witch in You reading, where we go chakra by chakra, reviewing which chakras are activated, and depending of what chakra is activated, then is potentially the kind of capabilities that they have, the clairs. So
Right.
someone that is a healer, they may have their healing chakras on the hands active and the shoulders. Somebody that is a psychic, for example, they may have their third eye very open. Even if they deny the ability to see the other worlds, they have the third eye very open. Or somebody that is a channeler, they tend to have the crown chakra very open. So I do a reading where I scan the chakras. I go through the chakras in a very deep level, and then I see which ones are active, and then I communicate, hey, this is the places that are active at the moment doesn't mean that the other ones are not active. It just means that at this precise point, those are the ones that I recommend that you work with so that everything else get activated. And usually people start realizing like, oh yeah, my dreams are very deep. I understand now because it's connected to the third eye. Or, oh yes, every time that somebody comes with me, they feel better because I'm a healer. Or like they start this process that just confirms that people need sometimes a validation in the word. It validates who they are, right? Like it's not me. I'm just being there to witness. So that's usually one of the ways. Another way, it's also they just come. Like I do something that I call communication with spirit. So people comes to just talk to me about the things that they are experiencing, what they're going through when they're magical and their magic and their gifts. And then we create a protocol that is a personalized protocol for them to continue their exploration.
Right. Oh, that sounds like my abilities consultation. It's like, what are your many abilities? What's your primary? What's your secondary? And then put them on a path.
Right. Try to call it what is it? A School of Magic, right? That's what you have.
Yeah, the Academy of Real Magic, MAGICK. I call it elementary school for psychic and mediums, and developing your own personal power. And I love doing that.
Right. And it's also very important to do it with guidance, in my opinion, because there is so much information out there that people get overwhelmed. People can get overwhelmed, like you're like, what is a psychic? And then you're gonna find like 5 million different searches in Google, and you
right. It's like, okay, well, they're gonna give me a reading. I'm like,
right.
I mean, like, I want to develop, and there's so many options to develop. I mean,
it can be overwhelming, it can be tiring, and it can be also exhausting and make somebody sick because it's like too much. The other thing that I do too is like I do a healing protocol that restores people on their original frequency. So we actually go into vibration level and chakra level and frequency level, and we realign it to who they were. So it's a process of like removing soul fragmentation, doing soul retrieval.
Right. That's shamanism, right?
That's where shamanism, curanderismo comes in, so that people remembers who they are when they're whole, which is usually when they were babies, because by the time they come to me, they're adults. And I do work with younger people, but usually it's adults, and we do this work, or I do this work with them, so that they restore, like their soul gets restored, so that they are back to be who they were meant to be.
Is this something that you do in person, or do you have other ways of doing this?
So I do both. Right now I'm just doing healing sessions in the internet because pandemic. I'm hoping that eventually things will be back to a point where I can see clients in person again. But right now I am doing it via Zoom, and I have customers all over the world. So I have appointments sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening, sometimes in the weekends, depending on when people need them and where they are. And I also teach the process. I started a certification program called Certified Healer of the Soul, where I'm starting to teach people how to do this, because it's a gift that it was passed to me by my family, and it's a beautiful gift. But in Spanish, you say no te das abasto, which is like just one person is not enough. Like there are going to be more that are finding, I support them to find their own way so that they can go and also do this for other people, so that we can impact as many as possible. The more humans out there awaken in their consciousness, in their gifts, in their magic, the better the world's going to be, because they will be complete.
Absolutely. And us giving and us being teachers, I think, kind of enhances our ability,
yes,
in what we do, by giving away information, giving away, some knowledge, or sharing it with people really helps us in our development. Because you can learn from your students. You're like, oh, wow.
Absolutely. We are teachers, but we're also students, right? So like we're always students. So it's definitely we learn from the people that we work with.
So being a curandera is really a healer using folk remedies. And your remedies, I think you have a product line of smudging, candles. What things do you have as part of your curandera?
So,
Right.
so I'm the founder of Bruja Power Botanica, which is an online shop where we provide products for enhancing spirituality.
And we'll put it in the comments. So if you want to see it, folks, go to the comments and you'll see the link.
Thank you. Like some of the things that I offer there is candle magic. So sometimes we can do our own spells, our own work, our own healing, and sometimes we need help. Particularly when we are so attached to the outcome of something, sometimes it's better to bring an energy that is an external energy that will help us growth, but that will detach us a little bit from where we are. Or sometimes we just don't have the time to do a very deep, profound spell. Like it takes hours to create something, hours, sometimes days, like an efficient. So I offer candle magic. There's different types of candle magic for people to bring abundance, to bring healing, to do cord cutting. Like the cord cutting spell that I have is one of the biggest bestsellers. People just trying to release toxic relationships,
Release.
anything, yeah, anything that they don't want, right? And then within the candle line that we have, every candle comes with a ritual. So people has the ability to do the magic with the candle, and then they also have a ritual to follow for enhancing their journey. We also have saging. So I work with different medicine men and medicine women within the United States that provide me with saging products, sage and cedarwood and other plant medicine that is organic and that I know where it's coming from, and I know the people that is harvesting it, and I know that they talk to the plant and they treat the plant in the way that it should be. So we have that on the Botanica. Same with resins. I have frankincense, copal, all sorts of tools there for clearing.
Oh yeah, this is for incense. Like in the church, they would use incense, but you can burn it as well.
Yeah.
Using the resins that you provide.
Right. And yeah, it's the same one than the church. So all of it, it's ethically sourced, and I try to get the best possible quality, because in the best possible quality, there's always the best possible vibration. And then I offer, of course, healing sessions and readings and things like that in there.
How do you get the magic, and how do you create the potions, like to put into your candles? Because it's like you do some actual work. Yes. and potions. So tell us about, take one candle, like tell us what you kind of do. What kind of things do you do to infuse it with some magic?
Absolutely. So there is something called correspondences. You may have heard of it, which is the color, the herbs, the scents, anything that has to do with a specific outcome. So for example, if I want to create a candle for money, like to bring the abundance for people or prosperity for people, there are certain herbs, there are certain crystals, there are certain essential oils, there are certain aspects of the moon, there are certain days of the week, there are certain gods and goddesses to work with. And then I create a spell that incorporates all those correspondences, and then I activate it with magic. So every single candle that we offer at the Botanica, it's a candle that has been activated in a vibration. So one of the comments that we usually get from our product is like, wow, it overwhelmed me as soon as I open it, because it's really strong magic. So I only recommend that people does it if they really mean it. Like, this is not magic to like F around. This is actual it's actual work, but it's great because it's accessible to everybody, so anybody can go there and change the reality, because we can all change the reality. Some of the recipes are recipes that I created myself. Some of them are ones that my family passed to me, and then I also work a lot with my ancestors. So when I am developing a new ritual or a new spell, they come to me and give me specifics about yes this, yes that, yes the other, not that. Like my grandmother usually is the one that comes, and her mom, and they're very vocal.
They're like,
very
no,
right.
not
right.
that one. Oh, okay, which one?
Yeah, exactly. They're like very vocal. So I listen to them a lot. My dad comes a lot and he tells me, what to do. Now that he's on the other side, he used to be a very quiet man when he was alive. And now that he's on the other side, he's not quiet.
my father is not quiet either, for sure. On the other side, like who would have thought he was, he's very talk. My mother, not so much. So you're actually connecting with your spirit guides, with your ancestors, when you're creating some of these potions and
Yeah, yeah,
magic
and
and
then I
rituals.
offer also personalized potions. So it's a different service. Like this is like those are small batch. You know what I'm talking about? They're like small batch spells that people can go. Anybody can go and find in the Botanica. But then I also have a personalized spell, which comes with a consultation. So we meet, we talk about what they need to accomplish, we talk about why they need to accomplish it, and if it's a little bit of coaching too, because sometimes people think
Right,
that they need
always.
something, but they need something completely different.
Life coaching, it's all part of
Right.
what we do is also
Right.
life coaching, right?
Right. And then I create the magic that is specific for them, specific for their needs, specific for the
So
frequency,
it's customized,
the customized spell. Yeah.
customized botanicals and
Yeah.
candles, and it would be candles, right? That you would
Usually
create
an oil. So like we
an
have some,
oil,
yeah, like the anointing oils, like something like this, right? Like it's usually an oil, it's usually a candle that is a spell casted candle, and also usually a bath. So in Mexican tradition, we have spiritual baths. So we use a special herbs or specific herbs with specific correspondences for specific outcomes. So I prepare the herbal baths for people and I give them the instructions on how to take them home so that they can, before lighting the candle, before doing the ritual, they go clean their body with the energy of the bath. They take away from the body anything that they don't need. Then
right?
they anoint their body with their oils, and then they do the candles.
So it's definitely very specific. The ritual is
Yeah,
spelled out for them. Sometimes it can be customized, otherwise they can get the general categories.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's amazing.
thank you.
Using your ancient, ancestry knowledge and guides is pretty powerful stuff. Folks, she is powerful. I know that for sure, for sure. We have a good time when we go, places and for training, advanced training and such.
I can't
Um,
wait to hopefully go to UK with
I
you.
know we have to want to go to the UK, want to go to Arthur Findlay College, folks.
Yeah,
And I've talked about that. That's really the Harvard of all, or the Hogwarts of psychic medium work. And they do some other things, but it's been shut down for over a year. And
yeah. I was checking yesterday, and I think it will be open by the fall. Hopefully with the shots, and
yes, yes.
hopefully the world goes back a little bit to that.
We'll get there because folks, we need we always take additional training, and we've got to practice the things that we do. It's not like, okay, I have this ability and it's always going, it's like you really have to work with your abilities. It's to understand what you've got and then work with them. It's like training, if you're an athlete or a musician or whatever, we've got to practice, and to find maybe new techniques or new ways or of doing things. So we're always training too. So I say, if someone says, "Oh, I'm perfect," no, no, you've always got to
Always,
be
we should always remain a student, right?
always remain a student and
And I think
then
one of the
give
things that
back.
I've noticed too is like the more customers we see, the more people we serve. Uh, the different types of examples of use of our magic and skills we have, and then we realize that we have to up the game because we have to be able to support people in the way that they need it, so that it also doesn't affect us, right? Because we could see hundreds of people, but then it could deplete us really badly. Or we can take the training to know how to sustain the energy and sit in power and be in the right place at the right time so that we can help many and not necessarily take a toll. And that's
Right,
what
right.
happens, which you already know, right? It's like when we are interacting with people, we are connecting with the frequencies, we're connecting with the energy, and we're changing who we are into a better way. And they are too, right? So, and that change requires training. And we just got to keep learning.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, folks out there, when you're on your spiritual journey, it's a lifetime experience, and it's fun because it's like going down Main Street and you can always go to different stores, which are the different aspects of the metaphysics. Oh, you want to learn about healing? Oh, I want to learn about crystals. Oh, I want to learn about this, that, and the other. There's so many avenues upon our journey. I call them side paths. You get back onto the main road, but you can always take all these little, you know
Right.
detours and learn. It's like, oh, I didn't know about that. And that's why I do, these shows here, to learn about what other people do. And I do want to bring in some people who are in the hoodoo or voodoo, or and see, what's going on, and it all kind of is boiled down to the magical abilities of humans and
Right. And
culture,
every tradition, like I practice brujeria, right? Mexican brujeria, but any tradition, every
which is
tradition,
witchcraft.
it's,
Brujeria is the witchcraft,
yeah,
right?
it's witchcraft, yeah. So, but it's like the late Latin American Mexican style, right? But there's a lot of similitudes, but there's also other things that are very different. And I've personally mostly, like I work with shamanism and I do a lot of shamanism and also curanderismo, but then also one of the reasons why I like brujeria, it's because there is a difference between shamanism and brujeria that is very
Tell us about that.
very definite, right? So in shamanism we help heal the soul, but we travel, we journey, right? We go to places, we go find in the past, in the present, in the future, in multiple dimensions, we go find the fragments of the soul of someone. And it is a beautiful work, but it's also exhausting. Like if somebody's practicing shamanism and says that it's not exhausting, I don't know what they're doing. It can be very exhausting because you have to be protected, you have to be in your body, you have to be balanced, you have to travel, and then you have to bring back the pieces. You're traveling to worlds that may not be your worlds because you're traveling to the worlds of the person that you're helping. And in witchcraft, it's a difference. You don't go, you bring. So in
How
witchcraft,
you bring it to?
yeah.
Oh, I see.
So in, if you're doing a shamanic healing session and you're doing a defragmentation and you're bringing back the soul, you will go. In witchcraft, you will call upon the pieces of the soul of the person. You will set up circles of protection where you bring the right pieces of the soul. You will set up circles of filtering where you clean the soul of the person and it comes to the body. You will bring in light, you will bring in love, you will bring in abundance, you will do different type of strategies, and you get an outcome as strong as shamanism or sometimes stronger depending on what you're doing, but it doesn't require you to travel. And
astrally travel. You're
right,
talking astrally travel, folks.
right, yeah, you're
not getting on a plane or anything, are we?
right. Yeah, it's especially, I mean,
That's true, because you're going as a shaman, you're going to these different worlds and vibrations and finding bits and pieces of the soul and bringing them back and reintegrating it into them, and we're dealing with all sorts of things. And so it's like a journey and adventure, but with the curandera, using witch magic, you're bringing the powers to and bringing, putting it into a.
One of the important difference too is like there's just so many journeys that you can do during the day. Like there's just so many people that you can see. There's just so many healing sessions that you can facilitate. But if you're doing it through the way of witchcraft, then you can expand the amount of energy that you're calling. You can expand the amount of energy that you're casting. I think it's important to know both. I think it's very important to know journeying. Like one of the natural gifts that we have as humans is to travel within dimensions, as you know, and it's important to know how to do it. It's important to know how to do it within protection, within balance, grounded. It's important to know where to go, where not to go, how to do the whole.
You need a map. You need to know where. What's my intention? What's my intention? Where are we going? What do we want to do when we get there?
Right. It's important to do it, but it's also, I recommend people that likes journeying and like people that has a path of the shaman, I think that they should at least learn some of the ways of brujeria so that they can call the energies like that. Which, by the way, I have a really awesome class coming next Sunday for astral traveling. So if anybody wants to learn the basics of astral traveling and how to do the journeying safely, it's next, it's the 21st at 6 p.m. And one of the awesome things about this class is that we're going to ride the vortex of the spring equinox. The spring equinox is on the 20th, but the vortex is open for 3 days. So this opening of this vortex of energy enhances our skills, enhances our magic, enhances our ability to travel. So I'm very excited about that class that is going to be happening.
Astral projection.
Yeah, it's called Astral Traveling Workshop. That's the name. So it's, yeah.
So you're going to take them on a journey.
Yes.
And then bring them back.
I am going to
through meditation, I imagine, right?
Right. I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to teach people how to do a casting circle for protection for their journeys. Right. I'm also going to teach people how to identify which worlds to go and which ones not to go. I'm also going to share my personal style of how to journey on demand, which is usually people journeys by accident, right? It's
Right,
not
right, right, right.
gonna come back. So I'm gonna teach a little bit of that. I mean, there's just so much you can teach in 3 hours, but I'm gonna teach that. I'm gonna talk about that process, and then I'm gonna take people through a journey so that they recognize the steps of the journey, and they integrate them within their practices.
And this is going to be a Zoom.
Yeah, it's in Zoom. So we have people from all over the world. And if anybody that is watching this wants to join us, please do.
Yeah, and that's through your website, which is going to be
Yeah.
in our comments. Excellent, excellent. Well, that sounds exciting. Let's see here. What other things do you have upcoming? And then we'll take a look at questions. Anything else upcoming? We're going to be at the Virginia Psychic Fair in May.
Yeah, we're gonna
we need to have tables beside each other so we can have some fun.
Yeah, we can help each other. Yeah, we have that. I just recently got a spot in Hex Fest in New Orleans. So I am going to
Hex Fest.
Yes. Oh, the name is fancy. It's a festival for witches. I've never been in a festival for witches before. Just for witches. So I'm excited.
You're gonna wear your hat?
Yes, I am. I'm gonna wear my hat. I'm gonna bring my broom. I took a broom making class last week, so I'm gonna bring my broom.
Oh, nice, nice. Make a good one.
Yes, I'm also gonna be teaching a class in Texas, likely in May, and then hoping that now that the world is opening, that I can travel again and teach around the world again.
Excellent. Well, let's look at some of the questions. Yeah, I can't wait to get out of here too. We're all
yes.
Get us out of here. We've got someone. Let's see, Sue Mellon. So much information. I need to watch this again. Let me see. There was a question here. I'm looking for help on clearing chakras for myself. I seem to be stuck on something. Do you help with that, clearing chakras?
Yes, you can schedule one of the communication with spirit sessions, and we can dedicate that time for a healing session. Or if you want a more comprehensive program, there's either a full shamanic healing program, or there's also a cord cutting program in the website.
Let's see here. And anything going on in Georgia for either one of you all? No, I don't. There's nothing going on in Georgia that I'm aware of.
The state of Georgia?
The state of Georgia.
I'm going there. I don't have anything planned yet, but I actually have two friends now living in Georgia, and I was thinking about maybe doing something over there. So maybe.
All right, let's see. I've got some questions. All right, I have a question from someone who says, how do potions work with magic?
Cool. So potions. Whoa, we will need a few months to talk about that.
Give a high level. Go for the high level.
So, okay. So it depends on what kind of potion you're doing. So there's different types of magic, right? It depends on what kind of potion. It depends on what kind of elemental you're using. Most of what I do is fire elemental because I am a fire witch and a fire shaman. Mm-hmm. So what I use tend to be herbs that are fire related, that work for whatever specific outcome. But the way that a potion works is that you put together ingredients that are what I was mentioning before as correspondences, right? You put together ingredients that will help you achieve an outcome. And there are ways, in the witchcraft way, there are ways of activating the ingredients of a potion. And there are processes of intertwining those ingredients so that they can help you achieve whatever transformation you want to have. So you put them together, you activate them, you use phases of the moon, you use specific days of the week, you call specific deities to help you. And potions, potions can be sprays, like this is one of my aura clearing sprays. It can be an oil, one of my oils, or it can be a candle, like one of my protection candles. It can be anything. So you can create your own potions, or you can get your own potions. Some of the advice that I can give for people when they're making their potions is, number one, that when they're doing their magic, that they are grounded, that they are in a very good state of mind, that they're not angry, that they're not frustrated, that they're not in those energies. They have to be neutral. So the more neutral, the better. Another thing that I recommend is that the people cast circles of protection. So if you're going to be bringing things, if you're going to be on that vulnerable space where you're calling upon energies, you want to be sure that you're protected. And then the third, it's that I also recommend that you involve your ancestry. Like in the same way that I was mentioning
Mhm.
that my grandmother or my great grandmother or my dad will come and talk to me about how to do the potions. The more connected we are with our ancestry, the more powerful we are because we're accessing into that wisdom that belongs to us by family.
Mm, nice. Yeah, important stuff. And that's just the high
That's like
level.
the tipping point.
That's
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just the high level. See, it just goes
Yeah.
to show you folks, you really need to have some experience and some training and to be in a good mindset, to protect yourself, all these elements that goes into what you do and how you infuse that into your products. I have a question here. How does a beginner start with his or her journey as a witch?
As a witch. So my recommendation will be that first you do the ancestral work, that you identify where you're coming from. If you know your lineage, that you identify your lineage so that you can figure it out what are the practices from your lineage. As of from Mexico, I practice brujeria,
Right.
right? But if like people that is from Scotland, from Ireland, they have their own practices. People that are from Scandinavia, they have their own
Oh,
practices.
yeah. Know where your people are from.
Yeah, depending on where they're from, it's important that they connect into that magic because that magic it's very strong. It doesn't mean that they cannot explore other magics. It doesn't mean that they cannot fall in love with other practices. They can, but it's also very important to honor their own. I think that's the first. And then the second is protection. Protection, 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 and more protection. You can never have enough protection. And it's one of the things that beginners and even advanced practitioners forget the most. Like
Mhm.
just go in and we don't do it and then we regret it. So it's important to learn how to protect yourself and have patience. It's not a minute journey, it's a lifetime journey.
And where do you go to which school or is it, how does one, okay, they have a sense, oh, I'm from the UK, generations ago. All right, I'll try to integrate that. But where do I go to start learning about?
So one of the beautiful things about magic is that a lot of practices have a lot of things in common. Like they may use different tools like Wiccan tradition, and I don't know much about it, but like I know the Wiccan tradition, for example, uses a knife to open a circle, right? In shamanism, or like the kind of shamanism that I use, you use selenite. So it's just a matter of learning the processes and then adapting them to your tradition if you choose to go through your tradition, or if you choose to be initiated by a different tradition, which is fine. As long as in the cultural appropriation, which is a different story, but like you're honoring a different tradition, like just study, find books, find teachers, find sources of wisdom that will share with you some of the practices. Take what fits, don't take what doesn't fit. I mean, not everything fits everybody, right? But connecting to some of those practices.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just keep studying. And at the Botanica, we have classes. We have protection classes often. We just taught. I was teaching ancestral magic last weekend, and then there's another protection class coming in May. There's also spellcasting classes coming, and there's all sorts of training because it's important to always learn.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. So the key is go just, find a book, find a seminar, find a Facebook group of witches, ask questions, see what's going on, see what fits for you,
Yeah,
what resonates with you,
yeah.
what
What
you're
resonates?
drawn to.
What resonates, and do it from the heart.
And there are some folks who teach magic. Um, so it's just a matter of, it's part of the journey. It's like Easter egg hunting, if
Right.
you have that old tradition, like now you got to go find that next question is, when you block the energies of humans when they're closed, does it hamper the growth of your abilities? When you block the energies of humans when you're closed, does it hamper the growth of your abilities?
So a key for casting that type of blocking is
Mhm.
that you do it permeable so that you are able to continue to connect to positive energies and happiness and love or any kind of positive energies, but that you filter the negative. So you don't necessarily have to be 100% blocked from everything. Because if you create a blocking, a circle of protection, a bubble, around you
A brick
that
wall.
that it right exactly that is like a wall, right? It's there's no interaction, and then yes, it will temper your abilities because you will not be able to experience the world and the world will not be able to experience you. But if you're doing it on the right way with the right protocols, join my protection class, we talk about that there. If you do it with the right protocols, then you get to experience the good and you get to filter the bad.
Right. So it's kind of tailored to what you want to be protected from.
Yeah.
If it's a
Yes.
person.
Yeah, and then there is like there's deeper protection that is necessary when we're in situations like of risk. Like we definitely want to have a casting where we are not seen, but then there's other situations where you just want to be filtering things, or you want to be like filtering energy vampires, but you don't necessarily want to be disconnected from everything.
Mm-hmm. Question is, how does Florida water work, and what is it best for?
Florida water, so or Florida.
People think it's not from Florida, right?
No,
the state of Florida, but it
it's
is.
very interesting that I have found that different traditions have different Florida water. And this is actually something that I just found not that long ago. I was surprised that the Florida water wasn't the same, the one that we use in Mexico than everywhere else. Or Florida water, or the one that my tradition uses, is Florida water made of orange blossom. So it's the extract of the orange with a little bit of cedar wood and a little bit of lavender and a little bit of other things.
Spritzers, right? Spritzer.
Yeah, like a lot of what is in here is Florida water. Not all, there's many things in my sprays, but I have an aura clearing spray that has some Florida water. But it has the ability to remove energetic contamination. It's some sort of a filter. We use Florida water for the body to just clear the body, or we also use it as a floor wash. So if you're mopping the floor, put the Florida water. Exactly.
And Florida meaning flower, Flore, flores, es, right? And so in Florida, we're like, oh, tap water from Florida. I'm like, no, it's
no, a little bit of an alligator in there.
So it is a scented water, usually floral, and depending on what it's used for, and you put things together, you infuse it with the magic and with the intention.
I make my own, like lots of witches make their own.
I love that one that you gave us, cleansing.
Yeah, you have had some of my spray. Yeah.
Let's see here. Amelia says, help, can you tell me where I can find Potencias 7 Africanas? I live in Canada. I'm not familiar with Potencias 7 Africanas. Are you familiar?
I think that the Siete Potencias Africanas may be of the Hoodoo tradition, Hoodoo or Voodoo tradition. I think maybe the Hoodoo tradition, which I don't
The
practice.
Hoodoo?
Yeah, I think it may be Hoodoo, but don't quote me on this. It's not my tradition, so I don't know.
But we don't know, Amelia. I will try to find a Hoodoo priestess or practitioner and ask these type of questions.
I think the interwebs at this point will be the best, and I think it's connected to the Orishas, maybe. But
check on do a Google search, and then don't believe everything you read on those things.
Yeah,
for sure. Let me see. Any other questions, folks? I know we're getting up to the hour here. Oh, so someone says, you're adorable. I agree.
Gracias.
Marvin, yes, she is adorable. And she's a lot of fun when we go out and we do things.
Some call it fun and some call it trouble.
Yeah. Remember us going in Maine trying to find out we need a bar after the class.
Oh my God, yeah, it's looking everywhere.
Everything's closed. It's winter time or still winter in Maine, and we're like, I need an old fashioned. And we're just driving around these quaint little towns on the ocean.
It's so pretty there, though. What a beautiful experience.
It was so beautiful, and it looks even better in the summertime. I think that's it for. Let me see. Any more questions? Cool. So what we've got in there is, let's see here. I'm just checking some more. So Robin has put your website, bruja.us, in there, a link so people can find your website by going to the comments. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube and you're watching it, it would be www.bruja.us.
Right. And
you won't be able to see the comments on YouTube.
We have a big TikTok channel with over 32,000 people.
Yeah, you have a big, what is your TikTok channel called?
Bruja Power Botanica.
Bruja Power Botanica.
Yeah. That's
And
how it is.
TikTok, and it's videos, right?
We
Most of
have
it.
videos. We have a lot of training in there. We have a lot of videos of
Okay.
training, a lot of book recommendations for the people that are starting their brujeria and curanderismo process.
Mhm.
There's a lot of books and recommendations. And also, I'll text you the link of the astral traveling class in case anybody.
Yes, yes. Well, it's actually on the website. Marvin says, not only is she adorable, she's hysterical, she's funny, exhilarating, and awesome. So you got a
Thank
fan. He's a
you.
big fan, like me. Well, I want to thank you so much
Oh, thank you, Kevin. It was
for
very
being
pleasant talking to you.
my guest today on my Psychic Mediums live show. It's nice to catch up with you. I know you're in the Washington, D.C. area like I am. And, we're.
Can't wait to start seeing your pictures of your tomatoes and your
Oh,
vegetables.
I know, my planting. And then I'll definitely see you at the Psychic Fair in Virginia in May,
Looking
right?
forward to see you.
And then
Hopefully,
we'll catch up there and we'll be totally vaccinated by then. So
yes,
we'll be a bit more comfortable going
a
through
little
life.
bit.
Just a little bit, folks. So let's
No,
see. Anything else? Did I miss anything? No, I think we got a lot of good topic. I mean, I could probably do two more, sessions with you on other things, but I wanted to give everyone a sense of who you are and all the magical specialness that you bring and how important the work that you do is, and making sure everyone understands what it is, you know, about curanderism, shamanism, the difference between the two. Great conversation about that and all the wonderful products that you provide, which are selling out constantly. I know you have a crew downstairs working on them now.
yes, we have.
Get them while they last, and so it's wonderful. And I thank you so much for being here today on a Sunday afternoon. And I'll be chatting with you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And God knows next time who it's going to be. It's like mystery guest, even for me. I'm trying to get, all sorts of interesting people out there, from exorcists to, voodoo, hoodoo,
I'll check in my
practitioners,
network. I know a lot of
spirit
groups. I'll
mechanics,
check in my network.
chaos magician. Do you know anybody? Do you know any voodoo hoodoos?
I think I may. I'll check
Are
and
you checking? Let me know.
I'll send you some names of who will be good for this because it's important to bring recognition to all those practices, all of them.
Absolutely, absolutely, and to take the fear away from
Yes, but
everyone
you know
can
why?
be nasty. Everyone can be nasty and mean.
One last thing.
Yes.
We are afraid of brujeria because it's part of colonization. We were told that connecting to spirit and connecting to our ancestors was wrong because it took our power away so that we could be controlled and dominated. So this is colonization. That's the reason why we're afraid of witches.
Oh, that's right. Because everyone's saying, you're going to be interviewing a witch. Oh no.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But it's just because that's the point of control. I have on my YouTube channel a free talk I did last year in Dia de Muertos called Decolonizing Brujeria. So anybody that is interested on
Good stuff.
brujeria,
It's
please watch it.
decolonization. Of voodoo,
Stop being
hoodoo,
afraid of your
brujas,
roots. Stop being afraid of who you
witches.
are.
Right. And I really want to be able to pull the curtain back on these, because you boil it all down, it's all this very pure,
Yes.
magical abilities, all of our capabilities as humans and psychics and mediums and all these other things. How do we bring them to help others? And I would say everybody, anybody can be nasty and mean, and and they don't have to be a witch. I mean,
Right.
nasty, mean, ugly people, and they're bullies or whatever. So it's just like, you don't need a title to be nasty and mean. But these people who are doing their work in their tradition, I want to uncover that and kind of like shine some light on it and bring some
So
joy
true.
and no mystery to it.
No.
All
Thank you
right.
so much. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Bye.